welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley if you're new here, and today I'm going to be doing my fall TBR. For my fall TBR, I have 28 books and 6 graphic novels on the list, and so it might be a little ambitious, but I am very excited for the list. Since I am filming this a little bit late near the end of September, I have already read I think 6 of these, so it's not too overly ambitious. It is more just kind of like my hopefuls, books I want to get to, a list that I can reference throughout fall so that I can figure out what I want to read next and not forget about certain books that I really want to get to. I have put timestamps in the description below so you can jump around to different genres. I have fantasy slash like magical realism. There are some magical realism like romance in there. I also have thrillers, as well as I think there's one mystery, like a cozy mystery in there. I have plain romance. Then I just put YA middle grade in their own like genre categories as opposed to breaking those down even further. And then I have my graphic novel category. Since there are so many books on this list, I'm going to kind of keep the description of each book brief so that we're not all, you know, here forever. So let's get started. Since it is a fall TBR, I'm going to start with thrillers and mysteries just to kind of stay on theme. A few of the books on my fall TBR were also my September TBR, but I try to keep the overlap like pretty small. So the first one is How I'll Kill You, and this one I am very excited about. I've wanted to read this for a few months since I've had it. So in this one we have triplets and they have a bad habit of killing all of their boyfriends. However, then one of the triplets falls in love with her Mark and gets kind of protective over him. There's a little blurb at the back that kind of seems like it would be their motto, and it says, make him want you, make him love you, make him dead, which I just thought was super funny. And this one seems like it would be kind of like thrilling, but also kind of funny at the same time. I also have Horror Store, and this one was on my September TBR. This one I have been wanting to read for so long. I've had this for a few years, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. It's set in a store that's basically IKEA, and there's a few employees that believe their store is haunted, so they have volunteered to stay overnight to kind of see what's going on and see what's happening. This book is formatted to look kind of like an IKEA catalog like this, which I find super interesting. Even like the dimensions of the book are very much catalog-esque. I saw a few creepy illustrations in here as well, not just like catalog illustrations, so I'm very excited to get to this one. The next one I have is The Maid, and I believe this one's kind of like a cozy mystery. We have a main character who is a maid at a hotel, and one day she walks into a suite to clean it, and inside the suite is the guest who is super wealthy. I think he's like a very famous like millionaire or billionaire, and he's dead. And so I don't know what happens after that, and I kind of don't want to. This one is very popular. There's also a sequel, and then I saw that there's a Christmas novella coming out. I just heard so many good things about this one and the sequel, so yeah. And for my last thriller, I have The Hitchcock Hotel, and this one I just finished yesterday, so I have already read it and I would highly recommend it. There are quite a few mixed reviews on Goodreads, but I did really like this one. Our main character is Alfred, and he runs like a Hitchcock themed hotel, and he invites his group of friends from university to the hotel for a weekend as kind of a reunion. I think they're in like their late 30s. It's kind of a ragtag bunch. They all kind of had drama throughout the university years. They lived in a house together. So you see them come together for this reunion. Everyone pretty much has their own secrets, and you're not really sure what Alfred's up to. There is like a sinister aspect to him wanting these people to come to the hotel. The way that unfolds, I just really loved. So I would highly recommend this one. The next category that I'm going to mention is adult fantasy slash magical realism. I have more fantasy and magical realism in the YA and middle grade categories, but I thought I would just keep all of the adult ones together. I also have some magical realism romance in here, and I think most of them are witchy ones. The first one in this category is Evocation, and this one is written by the same author as A Dowry of Blood. I read A Dowry of Blood for Summerween and became absolutely obsessed with it. It was a 5-star read for me. I can't stop thinking about it. So when I got this one in a Fairyloot box, I was just absolutely so excited, and I can't wait to get to it. In this one, we have our main character David, and he is a medium. There's something like a curse affecting his family, so he has to call on his sorcerer ex-boyfriend Reese and have him come see him and kind of figure out what's going on. And in doing so, he also has to invite Reese's wife, who is an astrologer. This one is set in Boston, and there's like a ton of magic going on. There's secret societies. I have really high expectations for this one after A Dowry of Blood, so I'm hoping it lives up to them. The next one I really want to read is called The Wedding Witch, and that one is like a witchy rom-com, and it's the third book in the series that started with the X-Hex. I'm not sure what the series is called, but it follows the sequel for the X-Hex. They're interconnected standalones, but I don't want to read the synopsis for that one in case it might spoil any of the characters for book 1 and 2. So in the XX and the sequel, it's a small town and there's a few witchy families. There's always a romance involved, which is like the main plot point along with the magic. And I'm really looking forward to this one. I didn't know that it was coming out until recently. And I love the XX. This one doesn't come out until October 15th. I also want to read A New Lease on Death, and this one doesn't come out until the end of October, but I do have an advanced copy of this from NetGalley, and it sounds really good. I'm just going to quickly read the first line of the description from Goodreads, and it says, in this darkly funny supernatural mystery about an unlikely crime-solving duo that launches a commercially unique and genre-blending series, death is only the beginning. We have our main character Ruby, and she's a ghost in her apartment. That's pretty much all I know about this one. I also want to get to A Dark and Secret Magic. This one doesn't come out until October 8th, but I also have a copy of this one. It's, I believe, like a cozy fantasy. I think there's also like Hades and Persephone type of plot going on. This one has a bit of a romance involved, and I've been looking forward to reading it for quite a while. Another one is Fang Fiction, and this one sounds so fun and interesting. The beginning of the description on Goodreads for this one is, the world of your favorite fantasy novels is real and you're invited to visit. The only catch, it's filled with thirsty vampires. So this one's like a paranormal vampire romance, and this one sounds so fun, especially for those of us that read paranormal romances. For our main character, for her favorite one to kind of like come to life and be a part of her reality sounds so fun. And I'm kind of jealous of that. I really want to get to Where the Dark Stands Still. This one came out earlier this year and I have been waiting to read it. I wanted to save it for the fall and I'm so happy that I can finally get to it. In this one we have our main character Liska, and one day she's caught by like the demon of the local woods and she has to strike a bargain with him. She has to go back to his manor for a year and then she has to figure out like how she's going to survive this year. This one sounds super interesting. I'm very much excited for this. I don't know if it's like a cozy fantasy or what the vibe will be, but I'm really looking forward to this. The next three were on my fall TBR before I filmed this video and I've already read them and I really like them. The first one is The Vampire Plus One, and that is the sequel to My Roommate is a Vampire. This one came out last fall, I believe, so I was really looking forward to the sequel because I absolutely love this first one and it did not disappoint. So in the sequel, one of the main characters is the best friend of the main character for the first one. This one was really fun and I was really looking forward to it when I found out that one of the main characters was the best friend from the first one. He was kind of like a silly, goofy presence in the first one. So I was really looking forward to seeing how the author would make us love him as like a love interest and one of the main characters. She definitely did that successfully, for me at least, and I really liked it. I also read A Sorceress Comes to Call. In this one we have our main character Cordelia, and her mom is a sorceress and she's pretty abusive, honestly. So at the beginning we kind of see their relationship and how they interact and just kind of what goes on with them as a duo, and then they end up going to this manor and they're living with this man and his sister, and it just kind of goes from there. And I have seen a lot of people really loving this one. Lastly, in this category, I have So Thirsty, and this one just came out. It's the author of Cackle, and I haven't read Cackle, but I've heard amazing things about it, so I was really excited about it. It's a fun vampire story. We have our main character and her best friend. They go away for the weekend and a bunch of stuff happens. They end up at a party and it just kind of goes from there. I liked it. It was okay. It was fun. The next category is going to be romance. This one only has 2 books and I've already read them. The first one I have is You Again. It involves our 2 main characters, Ari and Josh, and it takes place over the span of like quite a few years. They keep running into each other over the years. When they first met at the very beginning, they did not like each other at all. They definitely clashed. Then they just keep meeting over the years, like I said. I really like this one and I would highly recommend it. The next one is The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and this is the sequel to The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe last fall and I really liked it. I had really high hopes for this one because I really did like The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and I like this one even more because it's set at a bookstore. Our main character is the manager of a bookstore and she pretty much runs it. In this one we have Hazel and Noah and they get to know each other. It's really cute. I love the pair together and I would really recommend it. The next 3 are general fiction, and I'm not going to really go into the synopsis for each of them. 2 of them are very well known, and then the third one is newer. I think it came out last year, and I didn't get a chance to read it last year. The first one is If We Were Villains, and this one is a dark academia book. I'm very excited to finally get to it. I was a bit intimidated by it, but I've decided that I'm probably going to read it this fall. The next one is The Secret History, and this one I'm definitely prioritizing over If We Were Villains. That one's kind of like a maybe if I get to it, but this one I really want to read, and I'm so excited to finally read this one. It's also dark academia. It's kind of like a modern day classic, I've heard people call it, so I'm looking forward to this one like probably the most out of almost any book on this TBR. The next one I have is a dark academia like short story anthology, and that is In These Hallowed Halls. And this one has authors like Olivia Blake, ML Rio, who actually wrote If We Were Villains, And then it has a few others that are pretty well known, and I can't wait to read this one. I'm just so excited. I'm not sure how many short stories are in it. I think there's 12 short stories in this one, and I can't wait to get to them. So the next category is going to be YA. So this one I have magical realism, fantasy, romance, / like general fiction, and thriller, and I think there's one horror. So there's kind of like a whole big range of things within like the YA section. The first one is The Hysterical Girls of St. Bernadette's, and this one sounds really interesting. We have our two main characters and they attend St. Bernadette's. This one says that the two main characters find their fates intertwined as they delve deeper into the school's dark past. Little do they know that a specter lurks in the darkness, watching, waiting, and hungry for its next victim. This one sounds super interesting to me, and I don't know if it'd be like a thriller or a horror, maybe a mix of both. And so boarding school setting mixed with the thriller aspect sounds like a perfect fall TBR kind of book. The next one that I'm very excited about is The 13th Child, and this one is from the same author that wrote The House of Salt and Sorrows, and I love this one. I didn't love the sequel, I DNF'd that one, but I really love the first, so I cannot wait to get to this one. This one just says that Hazel has always known she wasn't like her siblings. A 13th child promised to one of the gods. She spends her childhood waiting for her benefactor, Merrick, the god of death, to arrive and take her away. So then he shows up and he takes her away. He says his plan for her is to become a great and celebrated healer, and I am just so excited. It is a bit chunky, so I'm a little nervous just because I have so many books on this list, but I'm definitely prioritizing this one. Next, I have House of Thorns, and in this one we have a main character, Leah, and 6 years prior her family had fled their house because I think it was haunted, and then that night her sister went missing and has never been seen or heard from since. This just sounds incredibly spooky, and I can't wait to read it. Leah wants to return to the house and kind of just see what's going on, see kind of if she can find clues of what happened, and I am just so excited for this. The next one is Spells for Lost Things. Our main character Willow has never really felt like she belongs. She wants to travel the world after she graduates and just kind of see what's out there. However, her mom kind of squashes those plans when Willow's great aunt dies, and so they have to go to Salem, Massachusetts. Willow didn't even know she had this aunt. I think this one is like a cozy kind of like romance witchy book, so I'm excited to see what happens. The last one I have already read, I just finished it recently, and that is The Fall of Whit Rivera. This one is really cute. It's by the author that wrote Fat Chance Charlie Vega, and it has our main character Whit, and she's in high school. She's in her senior year, and she's very much like type A, needs everything to go according to plan. There's a schedule, there's a plan for everything, and she has like a list for everything. And so in this one we just kind of see, you know, the trials and tribulations she goes through with her friends. Senior year, she got a diagnosis of PCOS in the summer, and she's kind of been like trying to navigate that and the symptoms and what all of that entails. I have PCOS, so I really liked that aspect of this one, and I would really recommend this one. Lastly, I have a few middle grades. So I have The Pumpkin Princess and The Forever Knight, and this one sounds super like magical, whimsical. I'm kind of getting Over the Garden Wall type of vibes from this one. In this one we have our main character Eve, and one night she is like fleeing her awful orphanage, and she runs into the Pumpkin King, and I think he like whisks her away and takes her somewhere. I don't know if this one is scary or like thrilling, or if it's just kind of like spooky and atmospheric and cozy, so I'm looking forward to seeing like in which direction this one goes. The next one I have looks extremely scary, and I'm very surprised it's middle grade. I would have assumed it was like YA. It looks really scary for middle grade, and that is It Watches in the Dark. Can we just talk about how scary this cover looks? Like, what is going on here? How is this one not YA? How is this one middle grade? But anyway, so in this one we have twins. They go on a camping trip with their dad in like the middle of nowhere. However, then something happens. Their dad ends up unconscious, and they have to flee to this like little village nearby, and I don't know what happens after that. I don't really want to know what happens, and even though this one is middle grade, I'm actually very scared to read this one. The next one I have is A Bite Above the Rest, and this one sounds really cute. And in this one we have Caleb. Him and his family moved to a new town, and this one, like every day of the year is like Halloween. Decorations stay up all year, costumes are worn like daily, and it's just kind of like Halloween all year. However, he feels like something is not right with this town. There's something going on. I mean, obviously if it's Halloween all year, like something is not right here. And I think this one is going to be a really fun and cozy little spooky read. The last one I'm very excited about, and that is Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. This one, our main character is Sally Skellington. She is the Pumpkin Queen, and she is from The Nightmare Before Christmas. This one is about her relationship with Jack and how she doesn't know if they are really meant to be, and if she just kind of traded in her captivity from what happens like in the movie to being with Jack now. I might rewatch the movie before I read this one because I think that could be kind of fun, and I'm excited to finally get to this. I see this on Fall TBRs like every year from various people, so I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what I think about it. Lastly, I have a few middle grade and YA graphic novels that I'm just going to quickly go through. So I really want to read Hooky. This one is a middle grade and it involves two twins, and they kind of get up to no good. I think they're always involved in like some sort of antics. I also really want to read Sheets Volume 2 and 3. I recently read Sheets Volume 1 and I'm very excited to continue with the second and the third. I really want to reread Coven. This one I read either last year or the year before and I absolutely loved it. It's about this girl and she has to move across the country with her family, where she finds out that she's actually a witch and her family are witches, and there's a whole coven there that her mom kind of ran away from, and I'm really looking forward to rereading this one. And then I also really want to read Garlic and the Vampire and Garlic and the Witch. I have them somewhere but I couldn't find them, so that's fine. I'm really looking forward to rereading those two. They're very cozy, they're very cute, and I really love those two. So that is it for my fall TBR. There are quite a few on here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you can find some books that you might want to add to your TBR, or if you've read any of them, please let me know what you think of them, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye!